Hello, plant friends. In this episode, we have Brian joining us from Switzerland. He grows his plants in a greenhouse that's inside his house. That means he has to basically control every single element of plant care, including lighting, humidity, circulation, in addition to watering and soil compositions. So in this episode, he is going to talk mostly about lighting. I think this is going to be part of like a 3-part series. Lots of information. I seriously think this is the best information on supplemental lighting, grow lights, plant lights that's out there on YouTube. Hope you guys enjoy.
I am Brian. I come from Malaysia, but now I live in Switzerland. I have gotten into the aeroids and some ferns in the last 2 years. I grow all my plants within my house in a greenhouse. Before anyone has any doubts about that, I do that for a reason, because I live in Switzerland and a big part of the year is actually quite cold and dry. So therefore I need to augment a lot of the environment for the plants. One of the things that I decided to do was to buy a pre-made greenhouse. And this greenhouse itself, it is made out of perspex, as you can hear, and the frame is made of aluminum. And this enables easy lifting and shifting of things, and this is extremely practical. Another thing that I did with the greenhouse is that because it's indoors and it tends to be very wet, so I decided to put 2 layers of tarp on the bottom. With this tarp, it enables me to just do anything that I need to do, water my plants. If it drips on the ground, it will just kind of evaporate with the time. I am a strong believer of that, because at the start of it, I thought that I could do better and I would never wet the floor. But now I think it's much better with the tarp. If soil falls in the ground, I don't have to vacuum it. If it gets wet, it won't ruin the floors. And especially when you live in an apartment with wooden floorboards. So now there are many components with my greenhouse that I have really thought through and even tried out a lot of versions of things. And now I think I've arrived to a point where I think this is the optimal point for the plants to actually grow. One of the aspects is definitely lighting, because I decided that this is going to be an indoor greenhouse, therefore there won't be any natural light coming in. For winter time in Switzerland, it tends to be very gray. There's hardly any sunlight. Therefore, additional lighting is extremely important. When I first started the hobby, I actually tried out a grow tent. And in this grow tent, I bought these lights, which I have right now. These are actually grow lights. They are from Horti LED. They run 36 watts and it's about 3,000 lumens under it, exactly. And this is actually a lot considering such low wattage, because these are actually all LED lights. I have basically tied these lights on top of the greenhouse, and this light and this light is actually interconnected. And you can actually expand these lights to multiple modules. So that's pretty cool. A lot of people talk about LED lights and how great it is, and I believe in it also, therefore I use it. But beware, because LED lights do put out heat. Minimal heat, but it still does put out heat. So if you have a closed space, it does raise the temperature just a slight bit if you don't have enough moving air, or even if you have moving air, it still raises the temperature. With this grow light, I've had it since about a year now. It's running super well. I have made a couple of adjustments. Obviously, sorry, I'm just sweating. It's just so hot here in the summer, and obviously in the greenhouse it's even hotter. With this grow light that I have, because it's 3000 lumen, so by the time I get to about here, it is about 1000 500 lumens, which translates to about 150 foot candle. And that's actually high light. And this would be the first layer of the plants. As you go further down, I have noticed that the lumens or the foot candle just keeps dropping. And the middle layer here, it gets about 100 foot candle or 1,000 lumen. And as you get further down, it gets to about 60 or 50 lumen, 50 or 60 foot candle, or about 500 lumens. I've heard, but I think this is something that everyone has to try out. And but there is a range that's sort of what the aeroids do grow in, and they are about between, I would say, 50 to about 100 foot candle, and that would be about 500 to 1,000 lumens. Please correct me if this is wrong, but this is what I've grown it in, and it has functioned extremely well. As you come down to the lowest level, you will see I have put all my seedlings underneath here. And it has a LED tube light that I've kind of stuck onto it. And it provides a decent amount of light. And I'm able to utilize the space underneath the racks as well. At the start, the lights were way stronger. But in order for me to achieve a slightly dimmer light, because I don't have light with dimmer, so I decided to use netting. And with this netting itself, it actually filters out the light. So now with the netting itself, the top is about 2,000 lumen, and it's about 200 foot candle, as opposed to 3,000, 3,200 on top, or 320 foot candle. So this is important. You have to figure it out what plants work the best. As you can see here, I can show you a plant. This is one that got burned because it was way too close to the light. And this subsequent leaf was one that actually got a much lower light. So therefore you can see when it's stressed, obviously it kind of stays. And this was a stress leaf as well. Whereas this was the latest leaf and it has grown pretty big, and this is actually an Anthurium magnificum. Another example that I can show you what leaf burn looks like. Very often when it's too close, it also has this tendency to kind of go like this. So kind of sad for this Anthurium warockianum, but it is what it is. Now you learn, and then you just pull back with the lighting.
Wow. Brian, thanks so much for all the information. So guys, you know, don't even bother liking this episode. Don't even bother subscribing to this channel. Run to your Instagram app, give him a follow. And yes, this is a part 1 of a 3-part series with Brian. So till next time, happy planting.